We all know how to print something in Python. You use the print function and print whatever you want, right? But here's the deal. What if I told you to print this 10 times? You would do it by copy pasting it. 50 times? Or even 1,000 times? Would you copy paste this 1,000 times? Of course not. There's a much better way. Welcome to the 6th episode of Python Beginner course. Today we'll be unlocking the power of loops, your secret weapon to write efficient and powerful code. So let's get started. So today's topic is loops. So what are loops in Python? Loops in Python basically means if you wanted to execute like a single or block of code multiple times, you can use loops. Like for example, let's say I have a code, hello world. So let's say I need to execute this 10 times or 50 times. If it were like 5 times, okay, you'll just copy paste this, I get it. But what if this was like 50 times or 1,000 times, right? That's where loops come in. So there are two types of loop in Python. One is for loop. Another is while loop. What is the difference between these two? We'll get that in a minute, okay? To use for loop, what you have to do is use keyword for. You have to use a loop variable, which is, let's say I took I in this case, and I'll give a range. I in range, let's say 1 to 10. Print, I'll just print I. So as you can see, it printed from 1 to 9. So you might be thinking, even though I took the range 1 to 10, why did it print up to only 9? Because 10 right here is exclusive. This will not be counted in the loop. So if I wanted to print the value from 1 to 10, I need to give a value right after 10. So I'll give it 11. So as you can see, it prints from 1 to 10. Now let's try to understand the loop that we made. So we have a start. We took the value of the range to be 1 to 10. So this is the range of I, the loop variable. So the program stops at one point. So the program stops specifically when i's value reach 10 in this case. So between the range of 1 to 10, it will print every single value of I because we printed I, right? So after printing I, it will restart the loop. So at the beginning of loop, the value of I will be 1. So in beginning, the value of I is 1. So it prints 1, goes back to the loop. So after that, the value of i's increase from 1 to 2. It always increases from 1 to 2 unless we have a specific modification. So value of I is now 2. The current value of I is 2. It prints I because 2 is in fact in the range of 1 to 10. It prints I, which i's value is 2. It prints 2. So we have 1 and 2. Goes back and i's values increase from 2 to 3. So since 3 is in fact in the range of 1 to 10, it will print 3 and I'll go back. So like this, it will print from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It will stop at 9 because 10, as we know, is exclusive. When i's value is 10, it will stop the loop. So here, loop stops. And since we don't have any other code in our program, the program stops. So let's come back again here. So in the range, we have passed two values. One is 1 and 11. So it means 1 to 10 because 11 is exclusive. So by default, the value of I, which is from 1 to 10, will differ by 1. So in the first iteration, it will be 1. After it will be 2, 3, and so on. So what if I want the i's value to change by 2? So I can do that by passing another value, which we call a step. So if I do 2 here, default value is 1. If I run this, it will give me the same results. Like it will print from 1 to 10. If I give a different value like 2, it will start updating the value of I by 2. So in the first iteration, it will be 1. And in the second iteration, it will be not 2, it will be 3 because it will change the value by 2. So as you can see, it prints from 1, it skipped 2, and prints 3, skip 4, 5, and so on. Another thing I want to teach you guys is the break and the continue. So sometimes in loop, we need to stop the loop before it reaches the end of its range. That's where break comes in. So here, let's say I want to stop the loop when the value of I reaches 5. So I can do if I reaches 5, I can do break. If I do this, when the i's value reaches 5, it will not print I, but literally break the loop. That means the loop will terminate. What break does is basically just stops the loop immediately. So logically, it should print the value 1 and 3 because we have increased the value of I by 2 and we have stopped the loop when the I value reaches 5. So as you can see, I am correct. So it prints 1 and 3. So let's remove the 2. So it'll print 1, 2, 3, 4 because this time we have increased the value of I by 1. So it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. But when the value of I reaches 5 here, we have put a condition. If I equals to 5, break the loop. So another thing that I want to talk about is continue. So if I put continue here, basically what happens is it basically skips the turn of 5. So continue basically just skips the iteration and just move on to the next one. So if the value of I reaches 5, it basically says to continue the iteration to the next one. If I run this, as you can see, it will print every single number except 5 because we have skipped the turn of 5. So I hope you understood for loop. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Let's move on to while loop. So while loop is a loop that runs according to a condition. Before the loop starts, you need a starting condition. This is usually a variable that controls when the loop should run. So the variable I'm using will be I and its value will be 1. So I'll do while I is less than or equals to 5. So what it means is basically the loop will run as long as the value of I is less than or equals to 5. So I'll print I. So let's see what happens if I try to run it. So as you can see, it infinitely prints 1. That's because we never increase the value of I. In for loop, it automatically increased the value of I by 1. But while loop doesn't do that because we have to manually increase the value of I. Here I can do I equals I plus 1. So what it means basically is take whatever value of I, add 1 to it, and that value will be the updated value of I. Now if I try to run it, it will print from 1 to 5. In the same way, let's say I want odd numbers from 1 to 10. I will increase the loop from 5 to 10. So it will run until I is less than or equals to 10. When it reaches 11, the loop will stop. So I will increment it by 2 because if I increment it by 1, it will just print from 1 to 10. Now if I do I equals I plus 2, it will give me all the odd numbers because first I value will be 1. After that, when it increases, it will be 2. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. So that's how it works. Now let's try to break the loop when the value of I reaches 5. So I can do that by using the break statement that we learned earlier. I can do if I reaches 5, break the loop. And increment the value of I by 1. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And when it reaches 5, the loop will break. Likewise, let's try to use a continue statement as well. So if I put continue here, now if I put continue here and run the code, it will result in an infinite loop. Because when the value of I reaches 5, it will just keep continuing and it will never reach these statements. So it'll never increment, right? To fix it, I'll also put the increment inside this if statement. Now, if I do that, as you can see, it prints every single number except the number 5 because we have skipped the turn by using the continue statement. And that is it for today's video. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions regarding to the lesson, please leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to actually answer almost every one of the questions. And don't forget to check out coding.com for more interactive courses and also to get a certificate. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.